So, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. Viewing in a completely different place. It's kind of strange.
Welcome to my new house. We got a new comfy couch, a lot better than that old one. The reason that
it's rather nice.
The reason that hasn't really been any content recently is because we've been in the process of moving. Me and Bree finally got ourselves a house, moved out of that apartment, so trying to slowly but surely get back into the grind of things. Fate Zero review is coming. I'm working on that right now, so don't worry. It will be here hopefully by the end of the month, part 1 at least.
Yep. And I am done with school for the moment, so I will be back on videos hopefully full time.
Excellent. So, Castlevania Season 4 then.
I have questions.
I do too.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, just like with all of these videos that we've done, all these vlogs, spoiler warnings. If you don't want it spoiled, go watch it yourself.
Please. Please just go watch it yourself.
Yeah, go watch it anyway.
Yeah, like it was so good. But anyways, where do we begin? Favorite character?
Favorite character of the new season, or just in general?
Just in general. Like overall, all 4 seasons.
Sypha.
Sypha OP. Please nerf.
No,
I have to say Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac. Like, what I find hilarious is we're gonna be jumping around just a little bit, but I want to get this
Don't
one.
let us lie to you.
I want to get this one out of the way first. Isaac versus Carmilla, and she's like the least interesting man in Dracula's court. Ha! Isaac was easily the most interesting character out of any of them, really. Like, going into season 4, and heck, even before we started season 3, I was more invested in what he was going to do, aside from any of the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
Especially going into season 4.
And the story-wise, the way he found his humanity,
it's beautiful.
It was. I don't think they could have done a character better. And they tried. They really tried.
I honestly have no complaints with how they handled Isaac this season. None whatsoever.
And I like that Hector was redeemed for the most part.
He got tired of simping and decided to do something with his life. I will say I didn't expect Hector to survive. I expected Isaac to, if nothing else, at least rough him up a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe burn down the entire castle. But no, Isaac took over the castle.
Yep.
At the end of the season, Lenore said, "King Isaac over here." And I'm like, that's a glow up. I mean, look where he started, look where he is now.
Yep. Alright, just to try and keep this brief, one thing we have to talk about, Striga. Your favorite part.
Guts. Stole Guts' Berserker armor. Or you said it was more like, was it Artorias from...
Yeah, Artorias. It's the same thing.
like...
I mean, it's not, we're going to get hate for me saying that.
But
oh my gosh,
they're inspired by the same source. But I mean, just look at this picture right here. Look at that pose. Look at the sword. Look at the armor. This screenshot right here, I pointed this out during my predictions video, which I actually managed to get half of them right this time. Look at that. It's the exact same pose. It's clearly meant to be inspired by Guts' Berserker armor.
And then you have the shot where she's like coming up from the bottom left of the screen, screaming in the helmet and all that.
Yeah.
And that's another just straight rip.
Yeah. I will say... I'm not going to run down all the predictions I made in that video. Y'all probably seen it. You probably watched... No, I don't know if you watched it yet. But I got about half the predictions right this time. Trevor...
That's a good track record for you, isn't it?
Especially considering how bad I was last season. I was completely off the mark. Trevor almost died during the fight with Death. Saint Germain opened the Infinite Corridor at the last second to save his life. I said something similar could happen. I didn't make an exact prediction on that, but... Death was the main hero. I'm not
sure exactly how that works, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. Isaac threw hands with Carmilla, and the thing I love about that is he didn't just, hey, night creature, swarm her. No, he bum rushed first. Like, he was ready. He was ready for that. Not gonna lie, I was only slightly disappointed with that fight because Carmilla didn't seem to have a lot of vampire powers behind her besides just super speed and that, like, weird lightning effect around her. Super strength, and I guess not every vampire has some supernatural ability. Like Godbrand didn't really seem to have anything much.
Well, there's also the fact that her supernatural ability could have just been explosion.
Yes. Yeah, so Isaac roughs her up a good bit. She decides that she doesn't want to die by his hand or the night creature, so she stabs herself in the heart and just spontaneously combusts and destroys that tower.
I do have one major complaint about that fight.
What's that?
And all. And it's just something I notice in scenes like this, and I'll gripe if we can put a screenshot right here for a second. What do you not see? Alright, here's hopefully a screenshot of the other side of that little circle area. I'll point it out to you later. What's not there? The night creatures that are apparently there.
Yeah.
But they're not there. That is, if I scratch and claw through every single thing in this season to complain about, that's the only one. That is the only one that will actually bother me. I mean, for it to be such a phenomenally done scene and have that little bit.
I will say there is one thing.
I'm sorry to put all that on you, by the way.
That's fine. That's fine. I will say there's one thing this season that bothered me more than the previous seasons. I mentioned it before, both during the season 2 comparison, season 3 comparison, and during the full-blown reviews I've done of season 1 and 2. Frame drop during the fight scenes. It was more noticeable in this season than it was in any of the others so far, but it's also because there's also more fights in this season than any of the others. First episode, shotgunning the various fight scenes back to back to back to back. And we also have a complete time frame this time. Season 4 takes place about 6 weeks after season 3.
Yeah.
And can we just agree that Alucard continues to be a constant mood for this generation? Like, okay, so last season, he starts off basically living quarantine life before quarantine was a thing in the United States. And now, first time we see him, rolls out of the castle, he's shirtless but got his cloak on over him, goes out there and takes a piss on one of his visitors' corpses. And he's like, I need to drink more water and less wine. And I'm like, yeah, that's all of us after 2020 right there. Had a couple more bodies on stakes, so someone pissed him off in between here and there. It wasn't a full field like his father, so I can only assume that they deserved it.
I don't think that he would just go around staking people.
No, he wants to be left alone. So, he did get a turnaround. He did go and help out the village of Dynasty, which, by the way, Dynasty is a reference to Grant. You know, that one character from Castlevania 3 who has not shown up yet? Grant Dynasty is his name. They spelled it differently for the town's name, but it's meant to be an homage. So,
nice.
So yeah, he didn't show up in the series, but they pay tribute to him at least once. And they said that the Pirate of the Road from season 3, they mentioned him, but he's never shown. They said that's supposed to be a reference as well. So he's getting all kinds of references, but never actually showing up.
Yeah. Something else that I thought was really funny about this season as a whole. At one point, I believe it was just after they showed up at the castle.
Yeah.
You're like, is it just me or is Sypha the most overpowered one of the group? And I thought for a second on it, and I was like, yeah, but Trevor does have that weird flame whipped Wrath of God thing he can do.
Yeah.
And then I was like, where was that? And then finally it shows up in the final fight. And I'm just like, Trevor has been sandbagging this entire time. He could just do that.
You said that last season too. And what I think is especially hilarious is he said that last time, and then during one season they're actually in a barn fighting night creatures. He picks up a bag of sand and is literally beating a monster with it.
Yeah,
he's literally sandbagging.
Yeah.
Listening to us. I have an idea on what that whole flaming whip thing is, but it's game stuff, and I'm like, it's not worth unpacking here. It's just technicals. But
anything else about the show we need to go over?
I'm sad for Lenore. Like,
yeah, but they did her good. They were tasteful with it.
It was, but part of me feels like it was a wasted opportunity because I could have swore she was going to pull something with those slave rings. You thought she was going to too, because you said you expected her to be the craziest out of all of them.
I thought she was going to pull something with the slave rings, but it ended up becoming important twice for different reasons.
Yes, like we saw Saint Germain had one. Yeah. By the way, Saint Germain's a dirty traitor. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Saint Germain was going to use it to control the Rebus.
Yes.
And then it was also important when Hector used Isaac's knife
to chop his finger off, which, I mean, smart move. I'm honestly surprised I didn't see that coming.
I feel like that could only have worked with Isaac's knife. With a Forge Master's tool.
That makes sense.
Because you notice when Isaac showed up after Hector cast the spell, he just casually took the knife and...
just opens the magic cage.
Yeah, laser bars. Cage? More like a curtain.
Flies. Yeah. I think it's really funny is he's trying to rebuild this hammer. I guess he lost it back at Brayla, or left it in Dracula's castle or something. And Lenore's like, can't you just wave your fingers and just do that to do your forging? And he's like, no, I need an item. And I'm like, did you guys even play Curse of Darkness? Did you see how Hector does his forging in that? I just think it's kind of funny. I know it's different. I'm not complaining. I just think it's silly. But I will say that Lenore not using the slave rings to take control of her sisters actually gave me a greater appreciation for her, Striga, and Morana. And it turns out this whole thing was Carmilla's fault.
Yeah.
She got too ambitious, and then the other sisters lost everything because of it.
Yep.
Well, I say that that's the reason why, but if you think about it, well, okay.
The other sisters didn't lose everything. I mean, granted, almost. Lenore died, but Striga and Morana are still alive, well, and together.
I'm pretty sure the spinoff is going to be about them, or a spinoff in the future is going to be about them.
Which would be a pretty cool watch.
I'd love that. But I was trying to decide if Carmilla actually did screw everything up for everybody. Was it entirely her fault, or was it going to happen either way because Isaac was out for revenge? I think if you trace it back far enough, Carmilla tried to overthrow Dracula and got Hector wrapped up in that, which is why Isaac stormed the castle to begin with. So yes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just this season or last season. It was 2 seasons ago when Carmilla screwed everything up for everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just going all the way back full circle. So yeah, Saint Germain leaves off in the Infinite Corridor last season, comes back, meets Death in the Infinite Corridor disguised as an alchemist, and the Death says you need to complete alchemy in order to gain control of the Infinite Corridor because you need something that has a lot of souls in it to control it, so you can find your woman, which we never learned her name, by the way.
Yeah, that was...
It's not important to the grand scheme. It's just I'm getting tired of not having names to call a lot of these characters. At least it's not like throwing a little shade JoJo here in Phantom Blood when they introduced like 6 new monsters right before the fight with Dio in the first season.
Yeah.
And we're like, we don't care about your names. You're all dead, just instantly. It's like the opposite of that.
Yeah.
The fight in the castle. I do appreciate how they brought back.
Yeah.
The Viking vampires and the Japanese soldier vampires. Those are like leftovers from the generals that Dracula recruited, because we didn't see them at all in season 2. So it's like the leftovers of their armies came together to revive Dracula to continue the war.
Yeah, and then you have the fight with I'm going to call them the Final 5. I don't know if they're from the games or anything like that.
Not to my knowledge.
But the big 5-on-3 fight.
Yeah.
It was like 4-on-3, and then Dragan was like, I'm going to 1v3 you and expect to somehow win when the 4 of the other ones just got murked.
I mean, he was gutsy, give him that. Like, he got smacked with the Morning Star, his arm's about to explode, he rips it off and throws it at him.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, one-upping Shiro Amada on this one, you know. Shiro Amada rips his arm off and beats you with it. Dragan rips his arm off, throws it at you, and it explodes. I am my own hand grenade.
Hand grenade? Sorry.
Literal hand grenade.
I'm so sorry. Anyways.
So, the Rebus is a hermaphrodite creature that is half man, half woman in both body and soul. Saint Germain dragged Dracula and Lisa's souls back from the depths of hell and implanted it into the Rebus. Alucard's traumatized for the rest of his immortal life after seeing that.
Yeah.
And then Trevor had to kill them all over again.
Yep.
I feel bad for Drac because it's like, I mean, look at him. He's a good husband. You know, he went down to the underworld, found his wife, was there comforting her the whole time, and then they get dragged back to the world of the living in incredible pain, and then get killed all over again in a matter of 10 seconds.
And I guess that's a good segue into the last point.
They're
I
back.
Have questions.
They're back.
I have questions.
I do too, and no.
I just want to like wave my hands and say death magic, but how? What? Why? How are they going to rationalize this with Alucard later?
Unless I know they said this is the last season for this arc. This is the end of Castlevania 3 and Curse of Darkness' storyline, I suppose.
Yeah.
So we're skipping ahead in the future to whoever the next Belmont might be. But the question I have, though, Dracula is back, and he is trying to be a good husband. He is going to be Vlad Tepes. You know, he's going to just exist as a normal dude for now. But if that's the case, how is he going to turn evil again? Why are the Belmonts going to be beefing with him again?
Who says they're going to be beefing with him again?
Unless we're just going to skip straight ahead to Aria of Sorrow, then I don't know. But
they've done a good job writing their own story so far. I feel like they could go completely unique with the next one.
Yeah, and look what they did with Isaac. They took like most uninteresting character in the game, you know, just typical agent of chaos, madman, I serve Dracula because I want power, and turned him into the best character in the show.
Yeah, I mean...
So, they have the ability. They definitely have the ability.
Honestly, it really makes me want to start playing the Castlevania games. I know it's awful that I have not actually played.
Well, I'm getting the Castlevania collection when it comes out on Switch, so I'll let you borrow that. And I have countless games on PS2 and Xbox.
I refuse to play the N64 one, though.
I'll take care of those two. So
I refuse.
Yeah. But
wait, did you say two? There are two?
Castlevania 64, and then the finished version, Castlevania Legacy of Darkness, is basically just like an updated version,
gotcha.
Or like expansion pack kind of deal.
Anyways, anything else regarding the show? I think we've covered everything.
Sci-Fi is pregnant with Trevor's child. Saw that coming. Called it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, birth control doesn't exist. And,
hey,
you know.
But how do you think he stayed single and carefree that whole time?
Someone kill this man. The only complaint I had in terms of, like, it's not plot holes, but it's something that could have been explained a little bit better. The suicide knife. The
murder-suicide pact with God knife, that one?
It was kind of built up as a Deus Ex Machina Magic MacGuffin since, like, the first or second episode of the season. And we do know that Trevor has quite extensive knowledge of magic weapons and artifacts because he found the big boomerang cross thing with, like, the big four-bladed... Yeah. It's supposed to be the boomerang cross from the games. And he just kind of spits at us what it was in the very last episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess it doesn't need all the explanation because not every weapon in the game had an explanation. I just don't know what game that's supposed to be from, if it is from any of them. Other thing, this actually, I appreciate they did this part. Trevor said, yeah, this crazy vampire hunter had the Rajputra forge this. See, it's a cross-shaped blade. And then Sypha says, wouldn't that confuse a Hindu vampire? And he's like, not really, because it just messes with their brains because it's a big geometric shape. You have told me before that in olden vampire lore, the only reason that crosses affect them is because the person who became a vampire used to be a follower of Christian or Catholic faith. So
yeah, in some wars it's because they follow whatever faith, so they believe that they have strayed from that god.
Yes. So, and you said that if there was an atheist vampire, they'd technically be immune to the cross.
Yeah.
So this kind of justifies that if we're going by that old kind of lore. So I'm like, that makes sense. Makes sense to me. So
that also brings a cool, like, why a whole lot of religious symbols are so geometric in form too. Like, it's something to think about.
Yeah. Plot-wise, not really much to say aside from it was
good.
It was good, yeah. We got what we asked for. We got what we were expecting, and I honestly think this did better than Season 3 did.
Yeah, honestly.
It's at least on par with Season 2. I'm going to need to watch them both a couple more times. I think that it at least meets Season 2, if not exceeds it. Beat Season 3 because Season 3 just left off with such a bad taste in your mouth, but you got your... I'm not going to say unnecessary happy ending, it's just happier than I was expecting.
Especially for this guy.
Yeah. But so the question we have now is, where does it go from here? Again, it's a spin-off series, and I have 3, not really ideas of what it's going to be next because I can't predict it, but 3 that I would want to see if it were up to me. They've already said...
It'd be better for another video, though.
Well, it's just, yeah, I suppose. I was going to elaborate super on it. I was just going to, like, say what the basic gist idea was. Like, first one I'd like to see a throwback to Lament of Innocence. Show us Dracula's origin. Show us Leon Belmont, which that is the first canonical point in time. And it's made reference to, we know what happened, I just want to see it. 2, spin off with Morana and Striga. Show us where they're going after this. 3, just as like a movie or a one-off special, Saint Germain's backstory.
Yeah, that could be cool.
We got a small pinch of that, and they also did give us his costume for Curse of Darkness, which I appreciate that. But I want to see all his crazy adventures, especially during Season 3, he mentioned Trevor's like, how do you know what hell looks like? And he says, one really bad night with this king and drinking too much of something that was not opium. We don't have time for the story. I'm like, well, I want to hear the story now. So, aside from that, you got anything else to add about... No,
I think I'm good.
Damn, not really much to discuss. It was good.
I mean, we kind of hit point for point. We kind of railed through this one.
Yeah. Not really that much to analyze or critique. It was just
unscripted, if you couldn't guess.
Yeah. It's just good. It was a great ending to a great series, and we're excited to see where it goes. And give them 2 years to come out with the next one, you think?
Probably.
What I actually am a little more excited about, that we've confirmed that they're already working on, the Devil May Cry series.
Yes.
And what I would love to see, like, maybe not from the same creators, but along the same lines as this, if we could get an animated series based on Final Fantasy. 1 or 2, maybe 4.
2 would make a better...
going with the style that they've done for Castlevania, yes, definitely 2. But I'd love to see them do Final Fantasy 1. Like, just give us the original Warriors of Light, or heck, yeah, like 2. I think 2 is very unappreciated in the fandom. The game's got issues, but I love the story of it.
It's because it's Saga and not Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Wait, what?
They use a similar level up system to the Saga franchise.
Ooh.
Where, like, using things levels it up. It's weird.
So,
But anyways.
anything else to add?
Nope.
Well, I guess that's it then. This has been Blade Cross EXE
And Ryoji42
with Flagship Blades Productions, and thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.
Peace.